Well, good evening, one and all. Welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. Great to have you with us, as always. People, as always, coming in on the chat. Good evening, one and all. Sorry for the slightly delay. Running a little bit behind this evening, but as you can see, we've got the full crew with us. Good evening, Joel. Great to have you back on the big one, mate.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having me back again. Yeah, good to be back.
Not a problem. An absolute pleasure, sir. Steph, good evening to you.
Good evening. Happy Tuesday. Good to be live again this week.
Absolutely live. The shout outs are coming in, and just to prove it, good evening, Ryan Birch. Good evening, Greg Roach. Steve Till, good to see you. First time watching live and looking forward to it. Well, lad, Steve, that's what we like to see. Come back every week, why don't you? Evening, Super League Raw fans. Dawn Baker is with us, and good evening, of course, to my old friend Reggie Nixon. How are you, sir?
Good evening. I'm all right. How are you?
Yes, Tiggity Boo, always good for a bit of Tuesday night fare. Outstanding. Well, before we get cracking, let's get a bit of business out of the way. Starting with this little beauty. Yes, we are less than a week away, ladies and gentlemen. Less than a week away. No matter which platform you are watching this on or listening to this to, in the chat, in the comments of the show tonight on the podcast and the webcast is the link to free tickets. That's right, free tickets for our first quiz night. We'll mention it again later for the late stragglers coming in. But yes, on Monday the 15th, next Monday, 7:30 p.m, an interactive quiz, free of charge. There will be a prize for the winner. This is how it's going to work. You're going to need two devices. One device to watch the show, to watch the quiz, and the other device, your phone, because that's where you're going to be playing. It's interactive. You'll be answering questions on your phone, and then on your device, with the other device, you'll see leaderboards and all the stuff that's coming in terms of that quiz. We want your company. It's a week yesterday, Monday the 15th. Make sure you're coming. Prize for the winner. Boys, I know you're all going to be there. It's going to be a bit of a do, isn't it?
Can't wait.
Forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. And great to see a bit of technology in use there. It'd be fantastic to see how that goes.
Absolutely. Well, it should be not a problem at all. I'm hoping it should be tickety boo. Like I say, those tickets are live. Go to the chat after the show on YouTube, Facebook, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, on the podcast comments, there is a link there for the tickets. They're completely free. Go on, log on, get your ticket secured. The doors open, I think 7:20 on Monday. We'll crack on with the quiz. It'll probably be about half an hour, 40 minutes. No other rugby league community doing this type of stuff. We need you there. Tickets are already starting to go, which is fantastic. We will see you a week yesterday.
Yep. Dawn's got her tickets already, which is good to see.
Yes. I had a word with Dawn earlier on. She did promise me two devices. Yeah, it's going to have a problem. Just nick a family member's, Dawn. Drag somebody in off the streets. Get theirs off them. Tell them to sit down and watch a bit of Super League Raw on a Monday. Get them to 30.
You can't do that in Wigan. You can't drag people in off the
street.
street.
Greg Roach said he's the first prize a drink out with Dave. Good Lord, no. Good Lord, no. Far better than that. I'm going to play myself down, Greg. I'm going to play myself down. Right, boys. Let's just recap what's happened at the weekend. These, of course, were the scores. The Leopards going down 12-40 to the Warriors. Tigers 36, Red Devils 24. Probably the shock of the round. Robins 50, Broncos 10. A good win for the Wire, 34-8 at the Rhinos. 22-56 to the Huddersfield Giants at the MKM. And the Dragons 14, Saints 8 in what can only be described as an early season classic game. There'll be a few people saying, no, it wasn't. Believe me, it was. If you like your rugby league hard and you like good defence, that was a belting game of rugby league, wasn't it, boys?
Yes. Yeah, it was. Old school. Great defence. Could have gone either way right up to the end as well, which is what we like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, super game.
Yeah, we've got a chat here, the US Rugby League. Good evening to US Rugby League. Let's get them on the screen. Big followers of ours, USA Rugby League. Great to have people from over the Atlantic watching Super League Raw. And they're talking there about Sam Burgess. Watched on RL 360 this morning. And actually, word out of the Rabbitohs, they have told Sam Burgess he must complete his apprenticeship at the Wire. That's good news, Steph, for the league, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we mentioned this when this rumour started circulating that I couldn't see him leaving Warrington. I think what he's building is fantastic there. And, I think his reputation's only going to get better the more success he has at Wire.
Absolutely. I'm just blowing the froth off a couple here. Joel, your thoughts on Mr. Burgess remaining or should remain?
I think he has to do, really. He just can't be at head coach status for a few weeks and then decides going back over to the grand stage. You've still got to play your trade. Just because he was a great player doesn't mean that he's going to be a great coach, and that is only shown over time.
And Greg, integrity is big in sport, isn't it? He said he's staying for 2 years. He must stay for 2 years.
Oh yeah. I think we said this. Steph's right. We talked about this a few weeks ago. I think it's mischief makers. I think people are always going to put 2 and 2 together and get 5 over things like this. He said himself that he's going to stay the 2 years. I heard rumours this week that why we're trying to extend that. I don't know how true that was, but let's get the first few weeks this season out of the way before we start talking extension of contracts and things. Let's see how it goes.
Still early days, isn't it? Still very early days.
Yeah. So far, I think they say so far, so good, but plenty of rugby league still to be there. Right, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? It's raw tonight. It's proper raw. This is tonight. I'll tell you what we'll do. We spoke about all the games on the Final Whistle podcast. That is available for you to now go and listen. We believe that it got edited by the podcasters because the ending got took off for some reason. I'm glad to say the ending is now back. If you like a little bit of sport, go to minute 55 of the podcast. You will certainly enjoy that. We won't spoil it for you. But if you want to know what we had to say about round number 6, all the games, all the controversy, all the highlights, all of that, and that lovely last 20-minute section, I won't spoil it for you. Get yourself over to the podcast tomorrow morning on the way to work. Have a listen to that. You won't be disappointed, and make sure you tell us what you think. Just to get the conversation going this evening, let's have a look at the top performers from round 7, because we might want to talk about a few of these players. So let's do it.
Here are your top performers from round number 7 in the Betfred Super League. And with 4 tries this week was the superb Innis Senior against the Salford Red Devils. He is our top try scorer. The most try assists came from Harry Smith with 3 at the LSB, each getting 2 this week when Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves, Jake Connor of Huddersfield Giants, Niall Levels and Tyrone Bay, both of the Robins, with 2. The top meter maker was Jack Highfield of the Wigan Warriors with 223. Innis Senior got 191, Mikey Lewis 186 and Simplify 185. Speaking of Simplify, he was our top tackle buster with 18 this week. Jack Wellsby got 11. The most clean breaks was shared with Adam Swift and Innis Senior, both breaking the line on 3 occasions. The most offloads came from Ryan Hall and Harry Newman with 4, Sam Kibula of Castleford Tigers, Kate Cust of Salford Red Devils and Jack Wellsby of St Helens, each getting 3. The top half meter maker, you've got to be a prop forward, second row or loose forward for this one, was Franklin Pele of Hull FC with 139, Alex Miller got 137 and Liam Farrell got 128. The top tackler was Sam Davis of the London Broncos with 47, Cameron Smith got 44, Al Rixty Costa 43 and Will Lavelle, also of the London Broncos, with 41. And finally, the top goal kickers were Jake Connor of Huddersfield Giants and Mikey Lewis of the Robins, each with 7. Danny Richardson got 6 and Stephen Ratford got 5 for the Wire. They were the top performers from round number 7.
Indeedy, there you go. There's the top performance from round number 7. Some brilliant performances in there. And Joel didn't really go into too much with him, but Mr. Swift, for you, must be delighted with those numbers appearing a couple of times. Good to see.
Yeah. It's no surprise, really. I think he was he last year the top try scorer
for Hull FC? Yeah.
Yeah. So for that to be something that's probably going to be in question, maybe the top try scorer in the league this season, if he carries on the trajectory he's going.
Yeah.
He's only just going to get better and better. And it seems like the play style he's getting at Huddersfield seems to suit him just a little bit better than maybe it has done in Hull, but that's to be seen over time, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And good to see some Castleford players in there, Greg. Sammy Kibula and his senior in there, a couple of the Cass boys. Alex Martin.
Yeah, really good, really good. I mean, as you say, that was a surprise result. Nobody expected it. And his senior was superb. I think we spoke about it on Sunday night. I called him Guy Senior for some reason. But it was it's good to see Cass players finally putting something together and getting the results of it. Like we said, they were close first game of the season. The sending off really knocked them, and I don't think they've quite recovered from that. So it's let's hope for their sake and their fans' sake that's the start of a little period of recovery for them.
Absolutely, and Innis Senior, Steph. For me, as winger performances go, that was right up there, wasn't it, for Cass?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I said on the on the podcast, Senior, Wood and Broadbent, I think, are the shining lights at Castleford. I think that they'll do well to keep hold of those three, I think, next season, unless they're under contract already. But yeah, outstanding performance and brilliant for the league. I think that result just to kickstart Cass's season.
Great to see that Dawn has brought in the hired help. By all accounts, a bar wench is on the way to get her little tipple. So good on you, Dawn. Good to see you, Dawn, one of our proud Super League Raw members. Details of the membership is also in the comments. Please continue to support. We had a massive surge last week in new members, which was absolutely fantastic. Your support will go a long way in making sure that we continue to modernise this show, keep taking it to greater heights as we go. Absolutely marvellous. Right, let's take a look at the league table. The Dragons are top with 12 points, 6 wins from 7. Just that loss to the Leeds Rhinos against them. Then it's the Wolves, the Warriors, the Robins, and the Saints all on 10. The Giants there on 8. They're proving some doubters wrong, starting to climb up the table. Just the Broncos now looking for their first win of the season. We went big on the Dragons on the Final Whistle podcast. I think it's fair to say, though, gents, in it that. Steph, you said it, the table doesn't lie. The Dragons at the moment, deservedly top, played some really good stuff. And actually, under some, they've had a few injuries as well to right the way throughout the season since the season started. Greg, I'll come to you first, mate. They've had to do it tough from the top.
Yeah, they beat Warrington twice, they beat Saints. They've had a mini rebuild as well. Yeah. Don't forget that. They've replaced a lot of players this season. Injuries. I think they've had a couple of suspensions as well. Excuse me.
You have.
So you've got to raise your hat to them. This time last season, Warrington was sitting pretty after 6 or 7 wins on the bounce. So we don't want to kind of put all our eggs in one basket, as it were. But see if that's the right phrase, I don't know. But they've done really well. I didn't think they'd do as well this season after the mini rebuild that they underwent over the off season. But give praise where it's due. They've gone out there and they've just the one loss is pretty good showing.
Yeah, I won't ask Joel because it's his team, but Steph, the Giants, flat to deceive last year. They were shocking. Didn't get off to the best of starts this year either, but they're sitting in 6th there, and you could argue that the ones that they picked up, the wins they picked up, are teams that if they are going to do anything this season, they've got to beat them. The wins have come against, dare I say, yourselves. First game, which was a surprise. Nobody expected that. That was probably for me their best win of the season thus far. I'm just going to say that. But they've also, picked up the wins off Casper Tigers, London Broncos, and the FC. And like I say, that was to be expected. But bottom line is the 6th, and they'll be delighted.
Yeah, absolutely. Not taking anything away from them, but you're right. They played Castleford, Hull, and London to get 3 of those victories, which you'd expect them to win. But I think they played a lot better than they were last season already, which is great to see. And it's going to be good to see how they build now on the next. I think have you got some difficult fixtures coming up now? Is it they got a bit of a run now coming in Huddersfield?
Huddersfield, I'll give you the next 5. So the next 5 Huddersfield is Leeds away, then it's Saints away, Salford at home, Wigan at home, and Lee at home. So yeah, really tough 5 games. We're going to know a lot more about Huddersfield in about 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, but definitely proving a lot of people wrong at the moment, and again, great for the competition. Just shows how competitive it is. Just on Catalan, I think McNamara, what he's done there is unbelievable in the seasons. They probably lose the most key players out of every club in Super League, and then they get written off at the end of the season when they lose them, and then they bring in players like Abdul Sims. They lose Tyrone May, Tom Tompkins, and then to consistently do that and be competitive and back up at the top again. McNamara for me is he's right up there with the top coaches in Super League.
100%. I think Nicarima, we believe if he can get him fit, I think he's going to be an absolute superstar. As you see there, Greg Roach, another one of our members, of course, gets his own fan club now in the final whistle. He'd have been missed this week. Being a little bit Chinese year the dragon. Interesting comment there from him. I can tell you what we'll do. Let's do this. Well, hello to Mike Irving. Good evening, Mike. That's a new one on me. Good to have your company this evening. Mike's asking us in the chat, who have been the best performing centres thus far this season, and who would we pick in the England mid-season team in current form? Why not? Joel, he's caught us on the op, but which English centres do you believe in that? Because it's unlikely the NRL boys are going to come over for that one. Who would you put in the centres for England after 7 rounds? Good question.
That's a tough shout, that.
It is.
You have to come back to me on that one, I think. I'll have to think about that.
Well, you'd have to think Wardle. I would say Wardle will be pretty much a shoo-in.
Well, on current form, yeah. But, you know, my only concern is, you know, I've known him from his time at Huddersfield, and he was pretty injury prone. So if he stays fit, he's definitely got to be in the team, that's for certain. Yeah. I'm not sure if he'd be a starting centre, but how he's gone so far, he's got to be in the shout, for sure, yeah.
Well, Dawn and Greg, they're in the chat. They're saying Wardle. King's name's been shown. I mean, it depends what world he's in, Greg. But I don't think Toby's done enough yet in a Warrington shirt to warrant an England place.
No, I don't think he has this season. Probably, I know Ryan's just beat me to it. Newman could be a good shout.
Yeah, wouldn't expect that from you.
I don't think Toby King. Don't think Toby King's done enough at Warrington. Say again.
It's Huddersfield. I thought it was Alex for a minute. Sorry, Ryan. Beautiful, unbiased. That Newman, good shout. Carry on, Greg.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Like I was just waffling on about King not having done quite enough for us this season. No. Newman, Wardle, Greg Roach is saying Sam Wood.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
It's not a bad shout at all. Yeah, it caught us on the hop a little bit. I had to start thinking about my centres there.
Well, it's good. It's caught us on. I like a bit of interaction. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Steph, what about yourself? What are your thoughts? Centres.
I think Sam Wood's a good shape, but I think he probably needs to be Knights first and do it that way. As good as he's been, I think he probably needs to do that. But yeah, I think it's a difficult one on because a lot of the centres are NRL, aren't they? Ex-NRL and Australian. Yeah. And then obviously you've got the French ones as well. But Percival's probably been, you know, there or thereabouts, just based on his previous form as well. I'd probably say it'd have to be him and Wardle for me.
But has Percival's time come and gone? I mean, he's a great player. But is his time come? And would Saints want him to play that? You know, with his concussions and this, that, the other.
Well, it'd be a choice because the thing is, like, he's proven, and if you're going to have the young lads like Wardle and King in, then you're going to need that experience there just to show them the way.
Yeah, I think if it's not Percival, it's got to be Newman for me. I think even in the chat we're struggling out with people suggesting any other English centres. So yeah.
I think Percival adds the added bonus so he can kick goals as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, he could opt as well for the likes of even though Curry's a man reborn at loose forward, I mean, he has been known to drop Curry into the centres in the past for England, hasn't he, Sean Wayne?
Yeah. You could even put Whitley there. If you're going on them rules, you could put Matt Whitley in centres, couldn't you?
Yeah. John Bateman as well has been in the centres, so and Liam Farrell.
There you go. Interaction, ladies and gentlemen. You don't get that on Super League Raw. The question got asked, and it's not even quiz night. What's going on? And then we went, no dramas whatsoever.
A bit easier than that on quiz night, Dave.
I don't know about that. We'll have to see what we can do on that one. Right, boys, we had to go there, didn't we? Ahoy, ahoy! Hey! It's there. We were talking about this on the Final Whistle podcast, and wouldn't you know it, the big news coming out of Hull FC, if you could call it big news. I went big. I said I didn't think he was a Super League player. His dad's out on Twitter giving it big against Tony Smith. Let's have a chat about this. But before we do, you wouldn't expect anything less from me. This is why we were a little bit delayed coming on. I just wanted to do this. Hoy, Hule Walker. You know, we brought in a lad here from Australia. Yeah. And there's always this big chat about, you know, British talent versus Australian coming across. And I just thought, and I didn't know what this would look like, I'll be honest with you, but I just thought it'd be quite interesting. You know, these are the teams in Super League. We know Uli is injured at the moment, but he played 5 games. And when you actually look across that, tackle bus Uli 13, 16 and 3, clean breaks. Yeah, Hoy's got more 4, 1 and 1. Tackles, always made most of them, but he's also made the most missed tackles. Errors in the middle, meters very, very similar. There's only a couple of meters between the two. Couple of questions here. One, is Tony Smith right to be moving Texoy on? Is Texoy done enough in a black and white shirt? And two, having looked at the likes of young Alex Walker up from the Championship, new in Super League, not a million miles off in terms of the stats. Hooley's had some right pelters in his career, but he stacks up against her. Remember, this is a guy who's coming from Australia. I would expect to be on perhaps a little bit more money than some of the English boys. The question has got to be said: one, are they doing the right thing? Two, does this prove that not always is importing the right thing to do? We need to promote British talent, because actually there's not an awful lot between the likes of a Texoy and some British lads. Greg, I'll come to you first. Thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I think the crux probably here is the wages he's on, because I've also read just before we came on air that Hull are looking at a complete overhaul.
They need to, don't they?
Texoy is the first one. Who's going to be out the door for a complete rebuild of the squad mid-season, I've heard. So has it been is it a knee-jerk reaction? Quite possibly. Is Texoy the worst that Hull have had on the pitch this season? Not really. Is it Tony Smith showing his authority and trying to get a message to the Hull fans that he wants change? Yes, I think that's the case here. The guys might disagree with it, but I think it's Tony Smith kind of saying, right, okay, things have got to change, and this is where we start now, perhaps.
Possibly, mate. And I think the thing there, Steph, come across to you. I listened to his post-match press conference, and he's been talking about this now for weeks. Bottom line is the defending at Hull FC. Tackling is a prerequisite of a rugby league player. Don't tell Paul Momorowski that, of course. I mean, he'll want his time again against Nicholson after the weekend. But, tackling is a prerequisite, isn't it, in rugby league? And at the moment, to a man, they're not showing up for each other. They're not doing the basics right.
Yeah, and that always, a team that's not defending well always speaks of a bad culture. And, because at the very least you want to turn up for your teammates, kind of thing. And it always seems to be. It's a bit like more players get injured in losing sides as well, kind of thing. It's no coincidence. But he's an all right player for me. I don't mind him that much. It was interesting in the Lee forum they were saying about would we have him, and most Lee fans were saying they would. But I don't know if that was because he had a half decent game against Lee, and that's the only time they've really seen him play, probably. But yeah, it's I think. But didn't he get hooked off at half time?
Yeah, they brought Moy on.
Yeah, they brought Moy
on.
Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah, but yeah, it was. Yeah, so, I mean, it feels like he's been the one that's a bit of a scapegoat, maybe, for the whole team performances. It seems. I don't know, but maybe the whole FC supporters can have a better.
Yeah, they're probably a better position to tell us.
Yeah,
than we are, really.
Probably are, yeah. I mean, Alex Sharp, his comment was up a moment ago. He's saying that Wakefield being rumoured, but would he drop down to the Championship? I'll ask you that, Joel. Would Texoy drop down to Wakefield in the Championship? Yes or no?
I don't think he would. No, with the calibre where he's been, I don't see him. I don't see his ego letting him do that. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, no. And also, Dawn there on the screen, hard to do anything behind a beaten pack. I think we'd all agree with that. Just go, you've got... That said, there was glimmers at the weekend. Glimmers. Pele, best game thus far. And SASA, for me, is becoming consistent. I think that's about his third or fourth game now, where he's averaged over 100 metres. So SASA is slowly getting to what actually, I mean, we talked about SASA at the back end of last season, and a lot of people thought that when that was announced, it was a brilliant signing. And I think that certain players just need a bit of time to settle. And Greg, I think he's settling, but I think there's more to come.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's no reason why that should be a beaten pack with the size of the players they've got. Yes, a bit. I mean, you've got to remember as well that Hull FC have been hit with a lot of suspensions. Probably
injuries as well.
Injuries, yeah.
Danny Houghton was massive loss for him.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pack leader, Danny Houghton. Suspensions haven't helped them. It almost seemed like, they were getting a player or two suspended every week.
Yeah.
So that's not going to help. That's going to disrupt. I don't like making players scapegoats, I've got to admit. But, you know, like I say, maybe Tony Smith is he's put his foot down.
Yeah.
A last throw of the dice for Tony Smith, maybe. You don't know.
Well, you don't know. You don't know. So yeah, I mean, as you can see there, Jonathan saying Keith Smith, he's doing a lovely job. I wonder what colours he wears in Hull.
Once a Robin, always a Robin. He said.
Always a Robin. I'll tell you what, though, you know, once the Challenge Cup's over, we'll talk about Challenge Cup later on in the show. Well, I think we're coming into a really interesting period now in the season. We always say once you get to about 10 games, it's starting to sort itself out. But, you know, I'll come to the KR in a moment. I mean, whilst I'm just going through this, I'll just remind, just so you can see it again, this is the league table. Let's just have a quick look. I mean, first of all, let's go from top to bottom. In terms of the runners and the riders, the Dragons. The Dragons up next is KR at home, Lee away, Wigan away, Leeds at home, Warrington at home. That's an interesting set of fixtures for the Dragons. Then you go to the wire. Actually, of all of them, I think it's a big period for the wire in terms of maybe trying to steal a march, and you're gonna understand why now. They've got Lee at home next, then it's Salford away, then FC at home, KR at home, and then Catalan away. Winnable games in there for Warrington. Not as hard, I don't think, as what we just had with the Catalan Dragons. As for the Warriors, again, they've got a good run here. I think I would be surprised if the Warriors, after the next 5, weren't top. Because next up for them is the Castleford Tigers at home, then Hull KR away, Catalan at home, Huddersfield away, Salford away. I think when you look at the quality of Wigan, the way they're playing, I think they'll look at those 5 and they'll want a minimum of 8 points out of them, and they've got the tools to do it. Then we go to KR, and I think this is a really interesting position for KR. And you know, I'll just do the top 6 for this. But KR, next up for them is the Dragons away, then the Warriors at home, Saints at home, Warrington away, Broncos away. Those next 4 for Hull KR fixtures, and we're gonna learn a lot about them. And then finally, Huddersfield Giants, who are in 6th. It's Leeds away, Saints away, Salford at home, Wigan at home, Lee at home. So it's fair to say, I think probably with the exception of maybe Warrington, I would say, and perhaps Wigan, the rest of them, I didn't do Saints, did I? Saints is Hull FC at home, Huddersfield at home, KR away, Castleford away, Leeds at home. So Saints as well. So 3 of them, Wigan, Warrington and Saints. The next 5, they should be top 3, all of them for me. Yeah. The other teams, the other 3, not saying they won't be top 3, but they've got a really tricky 5 fixtures coming in Super League. At the end of that 5 rounds, hearing those fixtures, what's your thoughts? Is there any team there that you think is going to drop? Is there any team there that you think will steal the march? Greg,
who are we starting with, mate?
Yeah, you, mate. Go on.
Mate, oh, sorry, you cut out. I think if KR can come away with 4 to 6 points out there next 5 games, I think they'll consider that a success.
Yeah.
You'd like to think, sorry, London fans, you'd like to think that they will pick up 2 points against London. If they can get another 2 or 4 points out of those 5 games, they will view that as a very, very successful little period. Can I see them doing it? Yes, I can. But, you know, I think that will be the test of Hull KR, where they'll stand in you know, at the end of the season, how they go in those 5 games.
Yeah, and Steve Cartley's there, another Super League Raw member, saying Warrington Catalan 3 times in a couple of months is stupid. It is the trilogy of fixtures that they are going to have combated. They're going to be over after round 11, which, you know, I think from their perspective, certainly in the running, they'll probably be thankful for that at the back end of the season. But yeah, you're right. For Warrington and Catalan to have played 3 times in 11 rounds,
and we could even get them in the cup.
We could, but I think there's a lot of rugby to be played between now.
There is, but we could.
We could. Steph, same question to you. Based on those fixtures, is there anyone that you think will come out better on that? Is there anybody that's going to slide?
Yeah, well, I was going to go exactly the same as Reggie. I think the biggest one we're going to find out here is how good KR are. Yeah, basically, and Catalan as well. They've got some tricky fixtures in there. Bit of travelling as well, so it'd be interesting to see there we go on. But yeah, I think we'll find out if KR are the real deal, which I think everyone thinks they are. This next 5 fixtures is going to pretty much cement that if they can get some, you know, 6 or 8 points from those 5, I think they will be very happy with.
Fair enough. And Joel, do you agree?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, thinking in my head, the ones that you think would be most likely to drop will be the Giants, just based off form this season. But there's a potential there that there could be 4 points made. There could be 6 points if they really play well. But the one I'm most interested in is seeing Catalan, because I think there's a potential of 10 points there. If anyone's going to rock Wigan right now, other than Saints and Hull potentially, would be Catalan. So if they could come away with 10 points there, then the rest of the league is going to struggle to catch up, because the form that they're going to be in after that will be incredible.
Yeah.
Good shout. And Dawn Kirby, another Super League Raw member. Hello, Dawn. She's looking forward to KR to be put to the test. She enjoyed the game against Warrington. It was a good game. We have been spoiled a little bit in the opening 7 rounds. There's some been really, really good games. Some lovely tries as well. Whilst we've got the time tonight, 'cause of course we're not doing predictions and things like that. Try the season thus far. Get your heads thinking about that one. Who will be your try? And while you're thinking, I'm going to plug it again. We have now got more people watching. I'm going to plug this a couple of times during the show. The Super League Raw Quiz Night, Monday, 15th of April, 7:30 p.m. Prize for the winner. Online Zoom quiz. You don't have to get out of your living room. You need 2 devices. One to watch the quiz and to see the leaderboards and all the rest of it. And your phone. You will be playing on your phone. All answers you will submit on your phone in the evening. No matter what you're watching this on or what you're listening to this on, in the comments is a link to free tickets. This is a free event by Super League Raw. Nobody else is doing this. It's going to bring the community and the family together. Bit of fun. And don't get me wrong, you will leave with far better rugby league knowledge as well. That's what it's all about. Doesn't matter if you get them right or wrong. What matters is you go away with a bit more knowledge and enjoyed quality company for about 30 to 45 minutes next Monday. Right, Greg, your try of the season thus far. Which one are you going?
Oh, I really wish you hadn't have done that, Dave. I'm racking my brains.
Okay.
To think of a decent try. Well, there's been a lot of good tries. I mean, Hanley at Lee has scored a couple of good ones. Swift.
Yes.
Newman, Duffy has scored a couple of good tries.
Yes.
I think that with Hanley at Lee, I think he scored a great try.
Yeah.
I saw Steph nodding at me then.
The one where
it was at home. It was at home.
The one at Lee, if you remember, it was that lovely move between Brodie Croft-Martin and Hanley. It was really well orchestrated. That stood out for me. There's been a lot of tries. There's been a lot of tries. I mean, Neil's put in the chat, try the season French at Saints. That was a decent try. It was a good try. Yeah. It was a good try, Neil. You're spot on. I have to agree. Don't think the Saints fans would, but I have to agree.
No, you've got to give credit where credit's due. Even Absolutely. Saints fans have got to do that.
Dawn asking, will a Fire TV work? If you can get Zoom on it, Dawn, absolutely. Anyway, Steph, your favourite, mate?
Mine's Ash Hanley's full length at Leeds, and when the one with the Brodie Croft where he chipped it over as well.
Oh yeah, KR.
So, again, it's Hanley again. I think that one wasn't it? But I think his tries this year have been absolutely spectacular.
They have.
But on a bias perspective, Amaya Hanley's Tommy Makinson-esque one was my favourite Lee try.
Good try. Yeah, it was a good try. Joel?
For me, it's between the Hanley one, Hull KR, but the one that I really was impressed with, and I can't remember who you were playing, was when Duffy scored. I think it was at the second or third game in, and it was on your own try line. Ball was kicked over, and he just sprinted through.
Was it London?
London. Yeah,
it could have been London.
That might have been in the cup.
No, it was London. We did that try came in London away. If
I know the one you mean. Where a little gap through, and he picked it up.
Yeah.
Just the after one, they scored, wasn't it? Just after London had scored.
It was.
Yeah, that was a good try. Yeah.
I think Hull KR have scored some belters. They have scored a rucker tries this season that have been very easy on the eye. I've got to give them a mention. But the one that I really liked, just to give a bit of love back after a hammering on the Final Whistle podcast, the John Bennison try at Huddersfield was a thing of absolute beauty. where they went through, Wellesby went through, and Tommy making
Yes.
basketball. Yeah. And everything about that was just, it was showboat rugby league, but it was beautiful to see. So
it was a Saints try. It was a Saints try, that, wasn't it?
If anybody wants to say that we're biased, no, we're not biased. We're not biased. Credit where credit's due. When Saints are in full flow, there is nothing better. Right, guys, it's now Greg Roach and Greg Nixon's favourite time of the week. Oh, it's come around yet again. Oh, yes, it is time for the Super League Raw Team of the Week. Here it comes. Raw Team of the Week. Raw Team of the Week is proudly sponsored by the Good Estate Agent. Join the rugby league community in trusting Stefan and his team when you are buying, letting, or selling property.
It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 7 with the Good Estate Agent for 2024. Here we go again, and a fullback. There was no Jai walking offences at the LSP. Oh no, on Thursday Jai was running, and it was a matter of time until Field arrived in the 2024 season. Decided to do it at the Battle of the Borough on the wing and top of the try-scoring charts after a devastating first-half action against Hull FC. Here's Adam Swift, the Uncle Fester of Super League, showed FC a thing or two, but unfortunately his bell rang, keeping him from more tries for the family. At centre once more is Petter Hiku. Whilst many were laughing at Petter at full-back earlier in the season, Petter is now on the mic delivering punchlines Peter Kay will pilfer every day. At 4, it's Arthur Romano for the Catalan Dragons up against Tubble. The Frenchman took control, and just like at Buckingham Palace this week, there was a changing of the guard dominated by the French. Quality! At 5 is Innis Senior of the Castleford Tigers. Everyone would have thought that it would have been Westerman and McShane who would have been the catalyst for the Tigers' first win. Not at all, as Senior encapsulated the phrase, a ferocity of Tigers with a performance of ferocity. At 6 is George Williams. Not since Daniel Day-Lewis have we seen a left foot as deserving of an Oscar. A try of absolute beauty from the England captain set the wire on course for victory. At 7, and replacing the great Mark Sneed, is the Lord of the Grass, Harry Smith for the Wigan Warriors. Another masterclass of game management from Harry, with tries and assists to complement his feat of flames. Michael Flatley would be proud at 8 who needs a dub of French on the beef when British beef is best served with English. Matty English was potent on the Taste Buds versus FC, with runs that cut through the FC front line like a knife for a medium rare fillet steak. Tasty! At hooker is Alex da Costa, who produced 80 minutes of a defensive display not seen since Napoleon at the Battle of Trafalgar. Alex prepared da Costa as smooth as silk with a double shot and a hint of golden caramel. Delicious! At 10 is James Harrison of the Warrington Wolves, who bossed the Rhinos front line on Friday. His player GPS got heavier and heavier as the game went on due to the data stacking up for the big front rower. Just ask Joel Scholes, he'll tell you. In second row is Alex Mellor of the Tigers. Mellor is like Ashford and Simpson, solid as a rock. Oh yes, Mellor is no ordinary granite and is pivotal to the Tigers' go forward and defence. Dare I say, diabase to you patrologists out there. At 12 is Liam Fowler of the Wigan Warriors for his first but perhaps not his last time this year. Fitzgibbon at Warrington ran in close this week, but Fowler's game was so good it almost went unnoticed, but not by Super League Raw. And finally at 13, there is no place for the attractive private Judy Benjamin in Rugby League, oh no, but there is plenty of room for the snarly, angry titan that is Ben Garcia. Like da Costa, he summed up the determination to get the W against the Saints. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Team of the Week for round number 7.
So there it is, the Team of the Week for round number 7 is in the record books. Greg, as always, I'll come to you first. Did you enjoy that, sir?
I thought I was the Uncle Fester of Rugby League.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you had the light bulb in your mouth, maybe we wouldn't be able to see you.
Not since the court case, Dave.
So, what are your thoughts on the team?
Yeah, I thought, I'm surprised Fitzgibbon wasn't in there because I thought he had a great game.
He did.
Good to see Hiku in there. I think Hiku took some pelters at the beginning of the season for his performances at fullback, and rightly so. But he's not a fullback. He's proven every week that he's a centre, and he's a world-class centre.
He is.
Stephen Cartley's saying no Curry. That's another good shout.
Yeah, no Benjamin Curry. You're quite right, but you have to say though, Steve, as you know, Curry for me, you compare that to the Garcia performance from a defensive perspective. Garcia was colossal against Saints.
Well, Garcia has stepped into Gudabon's boots really well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm pleased to see that. And again, going right back to what we were talking about at the top of the show, Gudemon leaves Catalan, that leaves a massive hole. And yet Ben Garcia he's almost as he's not been missed.
I'm getting just a quick one. I just want to answer a couple of these. John's mentioned Parcell. Dawn's also mentioning Parcell's hat trick. The reason Parcell didn't get the hooker's role this week for Super League Raw, because again, we get into the detail, you know that. Parcell, he did score a hat trick, but here's the question. Do Hull FC lose that game if Parcell doesn't play? The answer's no. They can still win it.
Neither do OKR.
There's no way. There's no way. Sorry, what, mate?
I said neither do OKR.
OKR, sorry, yeah. OKR do not win that game or do win that game if Parcell doesn't play. If Garcia didn't play against the Saints, that would have been enough for me for Saints to have won that game. That's how important Garcia was, hence why we gave him the number 13. But Parcell, Alvich de Costa, my apologies, his defensive efforts over, 40-odd tackles he got. I can't remember was it 46 tackles, something like that?
Yeah.
In the game, 43 tackles in the game. And without 80 minutes showing, without him, I really do not think him and Garcia defensive capacity won or played a significant part in Catalan overturning the Saints. Parcell, as good as he was, they still go on and win that game against London comfortably. Just wanted to answer that question in dispatches. Sorry, Greg, carry on, sir.
No, I think I'm just keeping my eye on the chat. Mikey Lewis missing out. They played well, but I think I was surprised that Liam Farrell. That's the only one I'm surprised at, that Farrell did more than Fitzgibbon. I thought he was absolutely outstanding, Fitzgibbon. But the rest, I can understand where people are coming from, but I think you got it pretty much spot on there.
And we get and I can't remember who said that at the end of the season it would be a warranting 1 to 13 at Super League Raw. No, it won't. We call it straight. Fitzgibbon was good, but Farrell, I think, under the radar against Lee, did some exceptional work. Mr. Sale, your thoughts on Team of the Week?
Yeah, I think just on the hooker, I think with Catalan's missing McLaurin, he stepped up to the plate, didn't he? And he was absolutely outstanding in that game. So I think that's, as good as Parcell was, you've answered it superbly there in terms of why he should be in. Yeah. And I mean, what can you say about Suzuki Swift? He's just standing at the moment, isn't he? So it's nothing. But again, senior between those 7 tries, he's just outstanding, isn't it? Great wing play there. And I thought Jai Field had his best game in a Wigan shirt this season against us.
Yeah, he did.
And on that topic, there's arguments there for Matt Duff, Diata Morg, of course. I think Morg had a I think in one of the Team of the Weeks, I can't remember if it was the official one or not, Morg did get in. And don't get me wrong, it was a try-saving tackle of apps. It was one of the best ever that he put on against Lewis Dodd. However, when you look at the overall 80-minute game, as significant as that was, there was more rounded, better performances at fullback. But I think that tackle stays in people's heads and it can maybe distort people's minds. I don't know. Joel, yourself, a couple of your boys. Matty English. Let's celebrate Matty. You've got to be delighted to see young Mr. English in there.
Well, I'm actually glad you said that, because I thought you were going to stitch me up not just once, twice, and 3 times here with the number 8. I'm not going to say any more. But yeah, Matty English, he's been great. He's been building ever since he's been at Huddersfield, and I think that now he's becoming not a senior player, but he's becoming more of a senior role in the forwards. He's helping the pack build, and he's doing it by his actions, and I think that's the best way you can have your forwards running.
Do you think he stepped up in Hill's absence, Joel?
I think he's had to do. Yeah, that's a good point, that, Steph. Yeah, because obviously when Chris is on there, they all look at Chris to what they should be doing, really, and he does charge around the pack. But I feel like Matty's trying to take that role on a bit more now, and he might be a very good replacement for Hill in the future.
Yeah, it's pretty promising, isn't it, for Huddersfield's future that he's stepping up to the plate, definitely.
And Ollie Wilson as well.
Ollie Wilson,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
but for me, I've got to say my favourite was Mr. Harrison. Stop it.
This is it. Those who haven't listened to the final, we won't spoil it for you. You need to listen to the Final Whistle podcast where Joel was talking about James Harrison. It's comedy gold. We won't spoil it for people. All I hope is that Mr. English doesn't get weighed down in the future by his data. That's the story.
Well, you know what I mean. Some carry things differently, don't they?
I'll get robbed off the driveway.
For those that don't know me that well in person, you guys do, of course. I come out with some corkers every now and then, so please get on the podcast and listen to it. It's brilliant. I'm happy to be laughing stock again. But another one that really has impressed me this season has been Harry Smith.
Yeah,
he's not had all the plaudits. Yeah. I think now this is been by far his best season with Wigan. Yeah, and he looks like he's only just going to get better.
Yeah. He control the game against us brilliantly.
Yeah. Feedback there. Don't know who it is. Don't know who that is. Got a bit of feedback. Don't mess about with something. But there you go. Anyway, but you're right. No, Harry Smith, rightly so, taking over from Mark Sneed. It's been his place all year, Sneedy's. But back comes Mr. Smith with a really, really strong game. Right, okay. Before we move on to the Challenge Cup, we'll have a little chat about that. It's a new segment on Super League Raw Weekly. It's called Let's All Laugh at Goalthorpe. Oh, yes, here we go. Time to take a look at the scoring from around Super League. Starting with, are we going to go there first? No, to be fair, I'm happy with that. No, probably not, actually. The Catalan game. Ourselves, we gave points to Da Costa, Garcia and Morg. The Man of Steel gave them to McMeekin. We mentioned McMeekin had a fine game. Morg got 2. Da Costa got 1. Nothing for Garcia from them. The Albert Goldthorpe. The Albert Goldthorpe gave 3 to Ben Garcia. I got no issue with that. They gave 1 to Morg, and they gave 2 points to Lewis Dodd.
Well, I thought you were going to say Jack Wellesby.
No, Lewis Dodd, the man who, for whatever reason, couldn't get the ball over the line, and Mr. Morg schooled him. But yes, Lewis Dodd gets 2 Albert Goldthorpe points.
That should have gone to Da Costa, that.
Mate, it's an absolute embarrassment. I mean, mate, the Goldthorpe didn't give a single point to Da Costa. What game were they watching?
It was awesome.
Mate, absolute legendary. Right, now then, we're going to have another laugh now, and it's still the Goldthorpe. No issues with the Man of Steel in the Huddersfield Hull FC game. They gave 3 points. We all gave 3 points to Swifty. 2 points. 2 points to the Lollahea for the Man of Steel. 2 from the Albert Goldthorpe. We gave Lollahea 1. We gave 2 of ours to Matty English. 1 went to Connor in the Man of Steel. That's them done and dusted. But the Albert Goldthorpe decided to get on the marketing trail to overplay somebody's hand far too early, and they gave it to Jack Charles a point. Help me.
I think
that's got a big future, but did anybody see Jack Charles score a point against Huddersfield?
They'd give him that for his kick to Sutcliffe's try, haven't they?
Yeah, probably.
And don't get me wrong, brilliant kick. We said that on the Final Whistle. That for his age was a moment of sheer genius. Yeah. However, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, dearie me.
No one's bigged Charles up more than this show.
No.
But he did a couple of good things. But how any Hull FC player could get any points out of that game is ridiculous.
For me, he was their best player that game. But, like you said, he's organised the lads, but shouldn't everybody who's in his position in each club be doing that anyway? That's just part and parcel of your role.
Maybe his brother Ray was scoring for the Goldthorpe medal.
Maybe. Now, just when you thought
let that one sink in.
Oh, yeah, I've got you. But here's one for you, right? Let's go to the Castleford game. You thought the Man of Steel were getting away. No, they're not getting away. Man of Steel aren't getting away. They gave 3 points to Innis Senior. No issues with that at all. Yeah, they gave. Dear me, where are we? I think they gave 1. Yes, they did. They gave 1 to Tim Lafay, who had actually a really good game. To be fair, got no issue with that. But they gave 2 points to Kane Robb.
It's the Man of Steel.
Yeah, Kane Robb. Nothing for Mella. Nothing for Wood. Nothing for I was just like, when I saw that, Kane Robb. Nah, surely not. I'll tell you what they've done. I'm going to be cynical. Whoever was at that game for the Man of Steel, they obviously don't know who Martin is. And they decided, and they've got the players wrong. Sorry, no way he's Kane Robb get 2 points. Martin, for his try, maybe, but they've probably gone, oh, who's that lad who, after a couple of beers, who's that lad who scored that try in the corner, the forward? Oh, yeah, Kane Robb, that's him. Give him 2, but no, Martin. Sorry, no, absolute shock.
Don's saying, I wonder if they just pick from names they can remember. Quite possibly.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think
names you can't remember in this.
People with 2 first names.
Or people who've got like a prize wheel, like Greg, just press a button. Yeah, only joking, mate.
You know what? You might not be far from the truth.
I might not be far from the truth. You might actually have a dartboard and put a player on each one and just take a throw. And who is it? Right, and then we go to the Wigan League game. I think we spoke about this on the final whistle. I mean, oh God. So the goal for they gave 3 points to Bevan French. Never in a million years. They gave 1 to Field and 3 to French. Now I'm sorry. No. Harry Smith got 2. Got no issue with that. The Man of Steel gave 1 to French, 2 to Field, and went with Sky and gave it to Junior and Zemba. 3. No. I mean, it is becoming quite farcical. It really is. But hey, there you go. So we've had our little giggle. That's this week's odd decisions by the panels of Man of Steel and the Albert Goldthorpe. But yeah, some really crazy, odd decisions.
Can we find out who is on the panel for Goldthorpe? That'd be interesting.
Well, it's actually the reporter from the game.
The journalist at the game.
The journalist at the game gives the points for that game.
Does that journalist cover the same team, though?
They do move around a little bit, but I'll tell you what, they clearly don't. Well, I don't, mate. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, when I go to a game, so when I watch a Warrington game, right, what I will do is I will then go home and watch it again on the telly. Because when you watch it for a second time, you get a bit of clarity into things that you miss in the stadium, you get. So I think that's the real joy of when you go and watch a game live, to be able to watch it again on the TV. It gives you some clarity about what go. Because I said this when I started commentating. When you watch a game from up high, it's a very different game from being at pitch level.
Yes,
it really is. Yeah. So they obviously don't do that.
No, and I can, the amount of times when I've been shouting from the stands for a decision what I thought was absolutely ridiculous, and then you go and watch it back and the referee was absolutely spot on. So
we've all done that.
But from the goal popping, it just seems to be comical. How wrong they get it. Yeah, just bizarre.
There's some right. I mean, like I say, Kane Robb's is a shocker.
Especially as they're meant to be, if you're writing about it, it's actually a job. You'd have fired all them people on the spot based on the decisions they make.
Got Derek Bowman on. Whoa, what's going on?
Here we go. I was in the press box at Leeds.
I'll tweet it now.
I was in the press box at Leeds last season, and while the game was going on, there were certain members of the press who were supposed to be covering the game who were watching the Women's World Cup final rather than watching the game. So that says a lot.
There you go. So we'll leave so there's the controversy, courtesy of Mr. Nixon, straight in. Right, we've got a little something this weekend. It's called the Challenge Cup quarterfinals. This is the lineup. We'll probably, well, let's do this in reverse order. So we'll start at Castleford Tigers against the Wigan Warriors. We don't do predictions. We don't do official predictions for this one. We'll catch up on the prediction league in a minute. After round 7.
Well, don't.
No, we will. But good week for the fans forum. They come flying back. Massive. No, not quite, but a massive week for the fans forum. But Castleford Tigers against Wigan. Look, to a man, I think we'd all say that Wigan are going to win this. However, this, off the back of their first win in Super League at the weekend, it's a good time for Castleford to be playing this game. If they'd have lost at the weekend, I think it would have been a rout. I really do. But that win might just give them a bit of impetus, and potentially it could make for an interesting game, because we saw game 1 of the season. Castleford were in the arm wrestle with Wigan up until the sending off of Liam Watts. So, Greg, what's your thoughts? Castleford can pull off the shock of all shocks?
They can do. I'm just going to Alex Sharp has put in the comments. Matthew Shaw, Reggie. I don't know the names of them, so and I wouldn't really, give any names out if I did. But that's not a name I'm familiar with. So, but going back to Casford, yes, they can. And it depends. Does Matty Pete see this as a chance to rest a couple of players? I don't think Wigan are the team that go into this type of game with the wrong mindset. I don't think Matty Pete allows that to happen. There are a few teams that can go into games thinking it's already won. I don't think Wigan's one of those teams.
No.
Can Cass do it? Yes. Will they do it? No. I think it might not be the blowout people are expecting. And the weather will have a lot to do with it, as Dawn's saying there. Yeah. The weather could have a lot to do with it. But I can see it being comfortable, if not a rout, for Wigan.
Yeah. Which is a shame to see in the quarterfinals of any competition. Steph, your thoughts on this?
Is it at Castleford?
Is that Cash?
Yeah.
Well, look at what Sheffield did to Wigan in the last round. It was
the first half, yeah.
First half, it was thingy. If you look, it was draw at half time, wasn't it, against Sheffield?
Very tight, yeah.
And Castleford's display early in the season against Wigan, like you rightly say, before the sending off, they were quite close. So I think Castleford are going to take a lot of confidence from that victory over Salford. And don't forget, Salford should have beat Wigan. So again, if you've got to make Conker's analogy. They've got a chance. They've got a chance, and I think, especially at home, it'd be interesting to see what the weather's like, because I know it's been horrendous.
It's supposed to be drying up, isn't it? It's supposed to be drying up this week.
Yeah.
It'll still be a bit thingy, soggy at Castleford, I'd imagine, the weekend. So who knows? I'm quite intrigued by this one. It'd be interesting. I just hope Wigan don't underestimate them.
No, obviously not on the telly, but commentary is available on BBC Radio. We're led to believe. Joel, Castleford Tigers, Wigan. Any final thoughts on this one?
Some may think that Wigan won't be as bothered about this because they're probably thinking that they want to keep an eye on the World Club Challenge again, which is no doubt that is the case. But Matt Pete is a type of coach where he'll want them to win not just that and the grand final, but they'll want the Challenge Cup too. They want the bragging rights. The only kind of saving grace Cass has got is obviously the win that they had, but more so the fact that if Wigan do rest any players and they put on some younger lads, they're not going to be as used to being on a slightly shorter pitch. And if it still is a little bit boggy, which it could be, because if the rain does carry on for a couple more days, the drainage system there I don't believe is anywhere near as good as other grounds. So Cass may just have an opportunity, like you said, to nick it being this week. However, Wigan probably just will win it because they've got the quality. And I'm talking that's if they're resting players.
Yeah, well, Alex Sharp's got 18 plus. Dawn Kirkby, I agree. I think Lawler's been very, very good. I think Alex Mellor, who's in our team of the week, I think Mellor, since we said he has been a real positive for Castleford. Lee, well, no surprise there. Lee Partington saying it'll be a second half hammering. Lee, you could be right. You could be right. We'll have to
be that negative at Wigan.
Yeah.
Come on, Lee, you're a man.
You're putting on. Yeah. Love it. Right now, your game. We'll come to. In fact, go on. We'll come to Joel last again on this one, as it's his team. Catalan Dragons taking on the Huddersfield Giants. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Huddersfield on the day can give any team a game. When Huddersfield are on, they have got the players to hurt any side. Any side. At the moment, like I said earlier, they've beaten the teams you would expect them to beat. They've come up short in the games against maybe teams that you'd expect to finish higher than them this season. Steph, I'll start with you on this one, go around a different way. Catalan at home too strong, or could Huddersfield, like they did, let's not forget, they did in 2023, could Huddersfield go to Catalan and cause an upset? Yes, they could. I think they're playing well. And again, confidence comes into it. I think most people expect, especially based on how Catalan performed against
St Helens at the weekend, they'll expect Catalan to win this comfortably. But I think Huddersfield are going to give them a game. I think Huddersfield like going to the south of France. Maybe the players there like the steak and wine as well. Are they travelling over early for this one, Joel? Do you know, or are they?
There will be, yeah.
Yeah,
there will be.
But no, I think this could potentially be the game of the round.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a real good game, and there's some very informed players playing for Huddersfield at the moment. So, be interesting to see. We know Abdul, if he's done his hamstring.
Abdul, we believe, is out.
Yeah. So Tom Johnston, you'd imagine, will be out.
He's out.
So, so some big players out there, and I'd imagine apart from Swift, who I think you said is going to be okay.
Hopefully.
So
they've got Suzuki there as well, who's going to be scoring a try for fun over in Catalan. So you never know.
Yeah. In terms of that, Joel, obviously Holsall, is he fit? Will he be, if Swift's out, will he be Holsall?
No, he got pulled out. He tweaked. I can't remember exactly where it is now. I forgot. I got told he tweaked something in training, I believe. So he was pulled out at last minute.
Right. So he won't be in contention now.
I don't believe so. Unless he's made a recovery, I don't see it happening now.
Well, Ryan there saying, it's going to be tough, but they tend to do well in Catalan. Neil, good evening to Neil Rennox. He's saying Giants by 8. He thinks that the Saints game could have an impact, and that's a good shout. Giants had a far easier knock at the MKM at the weekend. Saints, really, that was a grueling game. You're probably right. Of course, Johnson, possibly Ikabalu will be out on the week. Fajihar maybe come back in for them. You've got like some Machula Guerrero who can come back in. They've got bags of riches in the back line in the 3 quarters of Catalan Dragons. But a lot of people thinking there in the chat that perhaps Huddersfield could turn Catalan over. Greg, your thoughts?
Well, this is where Joel and Greg start sweating. I tend to agree with a lot of the comments in the chat that Giants, that Catalan, it will have taken a lot out of them that game last week against Saints. Yeah. I can see Giants winning this, but for Greg and Joel's sake, I'm going to say Catalan.
Yeah. The relief on that. Do you know what? And this is why I love it. I mean, I said last week, when we recorded, really missed the interaction. Some of the comments are absolutely spot on here, and it gets you thinking a little bit different. And I think that this comment about that Saints game and the grueling element of that game could become a factor. I think it's really fortunate for Catalan they're not travelling as well. I think if it had been a travelling game for Catalan, even more so, it could have been a big advantage for the Giants. I think it is. It's a fascinating game, and again, this one's not on the telly. It's the other two, isn't it? Because I do think this will be a really, really good matchup between these two sides. For me, because of Catalan and where they are in the league and they're at home and all the rest of it. But one thing is for certain, Huddersfield have to go there and play, because it does, play like their season depends on it. Huddersfield Giants, sorry for Huddersfield Giants fans, breaking news, you're not winning Super League. End of conversation. This is the one. There's no doubt. This is Huddersfield's one. Like Lee last year. This is your opportunity to get to Wembley and to put right the wrongs of a few years ago. And I think that Huddersfield will be right pumped for this one. Really pumped. And that's why it's such a shame it's not on the TV. But I do think it's hard to go against Catalan based on their early season form. But it'll be an incredible game. And again, hopefully a great advert for the game of Rugby League in France. I mean, I don't know if the French TV have got rights for it or not. I hope they have. Because, again, if the French audience like the Saints game this week, because that was broadcast in France as well. If they've got broadcast rights for this game against Huddersfield, I think they're into the 2 back-to-back great games, which can only do the attendances and the sport well over in France. What's Alex saying? Alex is saying, I've seen something the other day. Last 7 years, I've had 7 different winners of the Challenge Cup. Knowledge, sir. Knowledge. Love a bit of knowledge. Outstanding. Yeah, he's been saluted by Mr. Sale. Loving it. Freddie McGilvey, he's got a good feeling as Uncle Freddie. Good evening, Uncle Freddie. He's going Giants. By 2. Not a
Black-eyed peas.
By 2.
I got a feeling.
Yeah, that's why Steph doesn't do team of the week. Anyway, right, okay. Let's move on to the replay of last year's final. Hull KR in great form, it has to be said, going up against a Lee Leopard side that has got injuries that rival that of Hull FC.
Not even asked me yet, have you?
This season. Oh, sorry, no, Joel. My apologies. Anyway, let's back on with Lee Hull KR. Only joking. Go on. Your thoughts on Huddersfield, mate. Your thoughts.
No, I won't say anything, but because it's Catalan, I've got a few stats for you on this. So you're the stats man, so please tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, if you've got good GPS on the back of your players, they'll be right. Carry on, mate.
Hey, you need it. You need it. Ask Mr. Harrison. He'll tell you.
He will.
He'll tell you. So me and Freddie were actually having a conversation about this not too long ago, and I believe that we are one of the few teams who have one of the better records at Catalan. And the fact that we're not playing at home is a major one. So, as I've said to you before, if we're playing at home, we've lost. It doesn't mean if we're playing Halifax, we're still going to lose. But when we're playing away, we've got a good chance. And being dry weather, that's where people like Adam Clunes will really come into their own. Tui will come into his own as well. The biggest factor is obviously Swifty. If he's playing, then we've got a real good chance. And I dare say we could give him a thumping, but it's but it's. I do think that Catalan will win this because I've got a feeling that Swifty might be a doubt potentially.
That'd be a blow.
Yeah, it would be.
It's a blow, But Ryan, Alex Sharp there in the chat saying that Joe's done his own work and we were going to miss him out. Just think, Alex, before he met us a couple of years ago, he was in detention every week. Now he's doing his own work. Such a good boy. He's such a good boy, is our Joel. Outstanding. Right, OKR against Lee, against the Lee Leopards, and Freddie McGilver offering some support. Spot on, loving it. Well done, Uncle Freddie. Right, Greg, KR against Lee. I'd love a game like the Wembley one. I'd love it to go down.
Oh, yeah. So would I.
But go on.
Oh, this is where Steph starts to sweat now. He's leaving the room.
He's off.
Go on, mate.
I think Hull KR will be too strong for Lee. I think Lee have still got quite a fair few injuries. Is that right, Steph?
Yeah, none back, I don't think, for this one. And no Dwyer either for this one because he'd be cup tied with Warrington. Yeah.
I think forget about revenge, forget about anything like that. I just think KR, especially on their home turf, will be just a bit too strong for Lee, unfortunately. But it's a shame because both Lee and Hull KR were a breath of fresh air for the competition last year, and that's not saying that because Steph's on. They were. It was great. If your team's not going to get to the final, let's have a final where, there's no kind of bias to it. You just want to see a good match. You don't really care who wins for the majority of rugby league fans. So it's a shame they've been drawn together in the quarters, but I think Hull KR will be a little bit too strong, unfortunately. Steph, I'm sorry, mate.
Well, Alex Sharp is there in the chat. He's going 9-17 the way of KR. There you can see for the first time tonight, Kobe McGilvery, another Super League Raw member. He's gone KR by 12. No Luckley, he's Dawn Kirkby's saying. He's got a one-match ban. He's out as well. Well done, Dawn. Good reminder there. Neil Rennock's another Super League Raw member. KR by 16. So Joel will come to you before Steph. Lee, KR?
It's a shame because this would have been great had Lee had the players. Now we've discussed this time and time again. The forward pack that Lee have, would destroy a lot of people in the league. And obviously having Dwyer out is a major blow too. So I do think KR's going to win it just based off current forms. But there's never say never. Lee are still a very good squad.
Yeah,
and they've got it in them, even with the players that they've got right now to put a win on them. But they've got to believe in themselves.
Yeah. Well, again, they've got to play like their life depends on it. They've got an opportunity here, and let's be fair. you know, the heroes of 2023 will go down in folklore at Lee. But I'll tell you now, if the team that he puts out on Saturday, beat or Sunday, whatever day it is, goes out and turns over KR to remain in the trophy, hopefully we play his due back for the semi-final. I'll tell you what, the team on Saturday, this weekend will go down in folklore as well, because nobody's expecting Lee to win it. But if they were to win it, Steph, another golden moment in an 18-month period of golden moments.
Absolutely. It was no surprise we drew KR away, because we have done 3 of the last 5 seasons, and also the 4th one being at Wembley. So 4 out of 5 seasons we played OKR. So we're just destined to be together, I think, at the moment, and to play OKR away. But no, I think you can't go any other way than a OKR victory on this one, which is a real shame, because it would have been an absolute classic and rightly picked for the BBC game, whereas in hindsight now I think it should have been Huddersfield Catalan as the other TV game, based on current form. Obviously they're not privy to that when they pick the games, so you never know, but I can't see anything other than a OKR convincing winning this one, disappointingly. But I will also say I do want OKR to go on and win it this season, because I thought they were a credit to the final last year, and obviously losing it in the fashion that they did, I think it'd be very fitting if they went on and won it this year for their fans.
Well, there you go. Greg Roach is asking who will the hooker be. By all accounts, they're flying Julia Roberts in just for the occasion, Greg. She'll be coming out this weekend for the Leeds Leopards. Only joking. No, it's going to be Ben McNamara, isn't it? Steph, I would have thought.
It'll be Davis and McNamara.
Absolutely, yeah. Richard Gere can keep her at home. Lovely stuff.
I'll tell you what, if they are flying Julia Robertson, I'll buy a ticket now.
Well, I would. I'll tell you what, wouldn't do any harm for the attendance. I go and see Julia all day long. Fine lady. Growing old gracefully is our Julia. Beautiful stuff. Right, let's go to on paper, the best game of the round on paper. St. Helens Warrington should be a belter. It should be a belter. We know when these two collide, it's full of fire and brimstone. There's no doubt about that. Joel, one, you must be looking forward to it, as any neutral should do, a game of this calibre. But how do you see it playing out?
Sorry, I missed that. What teams do you say again, sorry?
The Saints Warrington, my friend.
Oh, Saints Warrington. Oh, yeah. This is a massive game. I do see a Warrington win here. I think there's a lot of Greg's looking a bit. He don't really like what I've just said there. I'm just seeing a bit too much class at the moment. Warrington are looking extremely strong, and the way Williams played at the weekend, wow, just very, very impressive. And if you've got someone like him marshalling your team around the field, you can't go too far wrong. And my friend Mr. Harrison's playing great at props, so we'll see how we go there. But I do think a wire win could be on the cards. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, it's all about opinions, my friend. It's all about. I think it should be a great game. I think both teams, touch wood. One of the things that Warrington have improved, and it has to be good, as Catalan proved at the weekend. If you're going to beat Saints, your defence has got to be tight. It's got to move forward as a unit. You can't have any people trying to do it themselves. You've got to stay disciplined. And there's no doubt, Sam Burgess Warrington looks far better shaped in defence than it did last year. Steph, your thoughts, mate?
I think the pitch is going to be a big factor with all them Saints tears from the weekend. So that's obviously going to have a big impact on the turf there. So that could play into Warrington's hands, couldn't it? You never know.
Listen to the podcast.
Joking aside, I think this is going to be an absolute classic. I think it's going to be a war of attrition. It's the young guys of Warrington, Sam Burgess's boys, versus the established Saints team, and at home there at the Tully Wicked. It's going to be a really interesting game. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be very close. I I just think Warrington are just going to edge it.
Another one going the way of Warrington. Greg's head goes into his hands. Alex Sharp saying that Leon Hayes may be only 5'3", but what a player. Don't worry about that, Alex. People say that size matters, but then they also say that the exception proves the rule, and Mr. Hayes is the exception.
Alex Murphy.
Yeah.
Rob Burrow. Edwards wasn't that tall, was he? Andy Gregg wasn't the biggest.
No.
Andrew Johns. Johns wasn't the biggest. Okay. We picked some names out the topish of draws there. Oof. Hey, beautiful. Go on, Greg. Over to you.
Well, certainly if we have a cold snap, the pitch won't freeze with all the salt on it. But
that tops it.
Be careful now. From the minute this was drawn, people have said, say the common feeling has been Saints will win this. This is a game that Saints will win, especially as we weren't playing too brilliant when the draw was made. And this is when every single Warrington fan starts to sweat now. I just can't shake the feeling that Warrington are going to win it. I can't shake the feeling that they're going to win. And I'm just hoping that it's not, it's decided by the players. And I'm hoping that Aaron Smith will be, what's his name? Aaron Moore. Aaron Smith, where am I getting these names from? No. I'm just hoping Aaron Moore is the ref, because he has been far and away the best referee in Super League this season. He lets the game flow. He does make very good decisions and generally good decisions that are right. So Aaron Moore is the ref, and I'm hoping that the players on the pitch decide it whichever ways it goes. But I just can't shake the feeling that Warrington are going to win. I really can't.
Are you going for a Warrington win?
Saints by 18.
I'll tell you.
I think I'm a Warrington fan, and usually I would say no. This is Saints. I just can't shake the feeling. I'm going to go for Warrington.
Yeah, I mean, look. One, I hope it's a great game. Two, look, Saints. I said this, and I continue to say it. Saints are a champion team. Champion team. Been there, done it. Got the t-shirt. They have got a phenomenal squad. I'll be honest with you. I think the biggest advantage, if it happens, that Warrington are going to have is that they'll be that wound up over that Catalan game that they actually overplay. They actually try to win too much. Rather than play their natural game, they push the envelope. And I think if they push the envelope, that could go in Warrington's favour. Because, again, I think what we're seeing under Sam Burgess maybe is that Warrington are a little bit more reserved. They're keeping a lid on it. They're not being drawn into stuff, even when things are going against them, like Leeds. We've seen time and again this season, the Warrington Wolves of 24 is different to 23. They go behind. The heads aren't dropping. They're carrying on. And that's really encouraging to see. We've seen that throughout the season. The biggest test of that was Catalan, 18-0 down. Game's over at half-time, and I'll tell you now, very, very close. I mean, they were on top, absolutely on top, about 70 minutes into that game. And then, of course, the sucker punch of the Abdul try, which, fair enough, Catalan deserved to win it. It was, again, and this again goes back to what we said on the final whistle. Whoever won that game deserved to win it. It was a great game of rugby league. And same with the Catalan Saints game. Great game of rugby league. So I think that could play into Warrington's hands if Saints do try to push the envelope. I just hope that we need both teams to turn up for a great game. I think if both teams turn up, it won't be a cricket score. It'll be a really good contest. Might be a couple of scores in it, but it won't be a cricket. I think it'll be tight for the majority of the game. And again, with it being on the telly and the shocking effort that has been put on by the BBC thus far in terms of Challenge Cup. We need this to be a good performance for the viewing public on the BBC.
Yeah, definitely. And I if you want a side bet prediction, I think there's going to be a red card in that game as well.
A side bet of a red card coming the way of Steph Sale. Of course, we don't do predictions. This doesn't count for the prediction league. We know that. But that's just a little bit of chat. Great Challenge Cup. And we will do a final whistle because it's Challenge Cup quarter-final weekend. We will watch 2 games. We might listen to the other 2. So we will do a final whistle on Sunday at 8 o'clock. So our Team Talk members will be invited along to that. Keep your eye in your chat, in your messages for that. One of our Team Talk members, can't remember who it was, might have been Alex. Some of the emails directly from Patreon have been going into spam. Check your spam. Make sure that there's nothing in there from Super League Raw on Patreon. Get that into your inbox so you're getting the messages of In Conversations, your Team Talk members being invited to the Final Whistle podcast and all the good stuff that comes through that. The membership is open. Seen a lot of names, a lot of new names watching us week in, week out. We do prioritise members in the chat because that's why the members, they're showing us the loyalty, they're showing us the commitment. So we give it them back. We make sure they get the lion's share of the shout outs during the show. Become a member. In a couple of weeks' time, we will be giving away 2 tickets to the Challenge Cup final. That's in a couple of weeks' time. So again, that's exclusive for members. 2 tickets to the Challenge Cup final will be drawn in a couple of weeks' time for Wembley. You don't want to miss that. And of course, let's give it one final plug. It's got to be done, hasn't it? The Super League Raw Quiz Night is next Monday at 7:30. Prize for the winner: interactive quiz. You need 2 devices. One to watch the quiz on, the other to play the quiz on. On your phone, you will be answering on your phone. There'll be leaderboards, all sorts of good sport. It's a cracking quiz. Go over in the comments, no matter which platform you're watching tonight, in the comments is a link to get your tickets. There's also a link to go and look at the memberships and become a member. We'd love to have you as part of this journey. We will continue to give you back great shows, great prizes. We really do appreciate your love and your support. Right, before we go, let's take a quick look at the prediction league. We haven't done that yet. Here it comes. There it is. This is after round 7, and as you can see, I've overtook Gary Schofield by a point. Get in there. Joel was level with me last week. He's still just the 2 points behind. Had a decent week. Steph, then Greg, and look at the fans for him. 97. They've had a right result. Really pulled it back this week. So congratulations to the fans for him. On Sunday, round 8 fixtures will be loaded on our Facebook page. So round 8 fixtures will be uploaded 7 p.m. Sunday night. Make sure you go and put your predictions in there so that we've got those ready for next week's show. Really looking forward to looking at round number 8. And let's give a shout out. Oh, look at this. Steve Morley. If only Steve Morley was a Super League Raw member, he would now have a hand on a season ticket for 2025 for his beloved Lee Leopards. But he ain't. Steve, unbelievable, mate. Chance of a season ticket. Oh, it's gone out the door. But look at that, Ryan Birch. Tony Pennington.
Go on, Tony. Go on, Tony, lad.
He's a member, and Tony Pennington has took over from Ryan. Ryan giving it Billy, you know what, a couple of weeks ago, saying he welcomes the challenge. And there's Tony Pennington putting Mr. Birch right in his pocket. Beautiful stuff. What have you got to say about that this week, Ryan? Not an awful lot, I would have thought. Get looking at your squad, sir. Get looking at your squad for round 8, because Tony Pennington is the big cheese, the top dog, numero uno honcho. Outstanding stuff there for Tony Pennington. Boys, loved your company. Absolutely loved your company this evening. Final Whistle podcast is going to be downloaded on Monday. Make sure you get that. We're back next Tuesday for Super League Raw Weekly. No news this week. That returns on Monday. And I'm having an Easter break with my family. Do apologise, but that's what the rate's got to be. So I'm prioritising my kids this week because they're off for Easter. So news will be coming back on Monday. In the sheds, we'll be back for round number 8, of course. And more In Conversations. Hopefully I'll be able to announce them this time next week who the next In Conversation is going to be. Joel, great to have you back on weekly, sir. Thank you for your company.
Thank you so much. You enjoyed it, and no more thingies from my podcast, please. Thank you.
No, we'll let people go and enjoy that at will. And if people have got friends who live in Saints, maybe send them a link to it. They will fully enjoy it. Over to you. Good to have you company, mate. Thanks very much for your time.
No, good. Like I said, really great to be live again, and loving the comments, and particularly I like the random question on who would have at England Centre. I think the more of those we can have thrown at us randomly, question our knowledge a little bit there. It was nice to be put on the spot a little bit. So great to have them ones in.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I mean, I say that, and that I think is what makes us a little bit different, is the fact that unlike other podcasts who shall not be named in the Rugby League arena, our comments you can read on the screen. They're not there for effect. They're there because we want them to be there and we interact with them. And that's really important out there. Sal, good evening, Mrs. Dixon. Good to see you. Yes,
We're nearly finished and she brings me a drink.
That's outstanding. Hey, right out the dawn. Right out the dawn, Baker's waiters. But yeah, absolutely. And this is what makes our show so great, is we do encourage you to get involved. We want you to be a part of that quiz next Monday. Trust me, you're going to love it. It's going to be a right good giggle. Test your rugby league knowledge. You'll come away with more knowledge. And hey, if you win it, you come away with a prize. And if it's anything like the Final Whistle podcast, you could come away, with side-splitting entertainment due to some of the gags that are involved during the course of the night. Hey, Joel, could be there, could be.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
we'll keep a track on him.
We will keep a track of him. As always, we're going to go out with the top performers after 7 rounds, and we have some.
It's been a pleasure, Dave. Thanks for asking.
Right? Lovely to see you. It was the wonderful outline of the missus coming in that threw me.
The apparition that is my.
Yeah, just completely threw me. But we'll be back next week. We're going to do the top performers after round 7. Enjoy your rugby league this weekend. Try and get to a Challenge Cup game. There's something special about the Challenge Cup. We've got to get through the turnstiles. We've got to show it the love and support that this trophy deserves. And we'll be back for the final whistle Monday morning, 7 a.m. Make sure you download it on your way to work. Guys, keep your eye on the Facebook page. More great content coming throughout the week. Another week is in the bag, boys. We'll see you next week.
Time to be weekly.
Next week, guys.
Here are your top performers after 7 rounds in the Betfred Super League. We have a brand new top try scorer. It's Adam Swift of Huddersfield Giants with 5 games in a row. He's crossed the line. The top try sisters, they used to be teammates, now they're tied with 9 apiece. It's Brodie Croft and Mark Sneed. The most beaters in Super League remains Matt Duffy, 1,231, but breaking the 1,000 this week was Essen Masters and Ryan Hall. The top tackle buster is still Matt Duffy with 59, but Tim Lafay is in hot pursuit with 56. The top clean breakers, each with 9, is Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves and Innis Senior of the Castleford Tigers. The most offloads have come from Liggy Sow with 15. He just needs to stay on the field. The most hard meters, you've got to be a prop forward, second row who's forward in this one, and he might not have played this week, but he's still there. It's Paul Vaughan of the Warrington Wolves with 837. Alex Walmsley just 37 behind now on 800. The most tackles in Super League, it's still Jordan Lane, 284 for the Black and Whites. And the top goal kicker remains Mark Sneed with 29 for the Salford Red Devils. Those are your top performers after 7 rounds of the Betfred Super League.